Happy Monday.
Oh, my.
Look, I'm sorry, am I loud?
Yes.
Whose problem is that?
It's probably the headphones. Well, it actually is you. I'm just going to say it's you.
Okay, that's fair. When in doubt. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the pre-show before the free show. It's your Dallas Cowboys postgame show here.
No, we are not doing this. I don't enjoy this. And I didn't sign up for things I don't enjoy on a Monday.
It was bad.
It was hot garbage. Like, it was really bad. Like, I quit watching the game. It was that bad. And I don't know the last time I've, just stopped watching a Cowboys game.
It was a overall pretty bad football weekend in the state of
Yeah.
Texas. Texas lost. A&M lost, right?
North Texas lost to Navy,
That's.
the Aqua Troops.
Let me tell you something about this. And I do not presently have North Texas on the rundown on today's show. So a North Texas minute. Oof.
Yeah, that's...
Navy's not good.
No. Oh, they're not good at all. Like, at all.
And I don't say that as a guy who's like a big Army fan, because Army's not very good this year either. But, that's a bad loss.
Yeah.
And
the fact that they've gone on the road and lost to FIU and Navy, two of the worst programs currently in all of football.
And then Cowboys and Texans lost.
Texas Tech fans are feeling good,
Tech
but
fans are
Baylor
feeling
fans
good.
should feel awful.
Oh.
The Butt Bowl was...
Part of it was Bud.
But...
Part of it was Bud.
Did TCU play?
Yeah, they lost. They got bodied by Iowa State.
Really? I missed that.
It was on at the same time. It was on... Yeah, I was watching...
At the same time as the Butt Bowl.
Yeah, I was watching Tech Baylor instead of TCU. I was keeping an eye on Iowa State and TCU. But, basically, it didn't get flagged to me that game was ever in doubt until I saw Texas Football Today's own Joel Anderson, who's a big TCU guy, tweeting about it. He's like, this sucks. I'm like, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Not good.
That's not good. Yeah, it was just a bad football weekend across for if you were, a football fan of teams in the state of Texas overall. Like, Texas State lost. Most winnable Louisiana game they've probably ever had. Yep. That's disappointing. But, Tech fans are feeling good. Who else won?
That might be it. UTEP did...
UTEP lost. UTEP lost. Let's
did
go.
Rice
lost to UConn.
God.
Let's see. So, Sam Houston lost to Liberty. Okay.
That's...
And credit... By the way, Sam Houston's the best 0-5 team in the country.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else? Texas lost to Oklahoma. Talk about that. A&M lost to Alabama. We'll talk about that. UTSA won. UTSA beat Temple. That's right. They went to Temple and won. Although that game was hairy there, first quarter.
Yeah, but that's a conference win at this
conference
point.
win. On the road. North Texas lost to Navy. Texas State lost to Louisiana. Rice lost to UConn. Baylor beat Tech, or Tech beat Baylor. Yeah, and so the state of Texas won 2 games, and one of them was against each other. One of them had to have a win. That's plus the Cowboys and Texans lost. That might be the worst week of football, results-wise, for the state of Texas.
In a hot minute.
In a decade. Because basically they got one win against a non-Texas team. And it was UTSA beating a pretty poor Temple team.
Yep. That's rough. Good thing we're not on ROF.
Good thing we're not on RF. We can talk
because
about
we can talk about really good high school games
about
that happened.
Talk about high school football. Yeah. You sent me a text last night.
Correct.
During the Cowboy game.
Yeah. Well, again, because I needed happiness.
Yeah, exactly. And I do this too. I have one break glass in case of emergency thing that I do whenever I just need a minute, and that is I book the Bob's dinner.
Yes.
So I booked the Bob's dinner 2 months ago. Because I was like, I just need some joy in my life. Bang, let's book the Bob's dinner. You broke your glass in case of emergency and did your piece of joy.
I ordered our turkey.
Let's go.
From our favorite turkey place. So we have a spicy Cajun fried turkey that I will pick up on Tuesday, which I talked to you about when you got in the office today. That's ideal slot to be able to pick up the turkey because it goes through the blast freezer and everything. So when you pick it up, obviously it's frozen, it's very cold. But that gives it the exact allotted 48 to 36 hours to sit in the fridge and kind of thaw out. So we should be sitting pretty come November 23rd.
Yeah, because the other thing is Wednesday
Oh, it's chaos.
is a zoo.
Yeah, I think I picked mine up Tuesday the last time we did it, and it was very busy, but it wasn't near what it is on Wednesday. You got a lot of other stuff to be getting ready on Wednesday too.
Now. Do you always do the spicy Cajun?
Yes.
Okay, because we can't do that at my household because we got to feed
kids. Yeah.
Kids and just people who do not have the same kind of sensibility palate.
No, we all love spicy stuff.
I do have a. We'll do a quick Tepper's a Wimp story, which I know you appreciate.
Yes.
My wife and I went out to dinner last night because my mother-in-law's in town. She graciously offered to watch the boys.
Nice.
And so we went out to dinner. Just a Cowboy game was on, etc. But we were just kind of a local haunt. And I ordered, it was like a brisket grilled cheese.
Oh, God.
Very strong. There were, unbeknownst to me, jalapenos in it. Now, I love jalapenos. But surprise jalapenos. I took a bite, and it was like, whoa, okay, hello. And it took me like a minute. And my wife looked at me, she's like, are you all right? I was like, there's jalapenos in here.
I can agree. I can agree with that. I find that to most of the time be a pleasant surprise.
Yes.
But
they were
in a brisket grilled cheese, I would not have been expecting
they
that
were
in the
not,
slightest.
and they were not pickled.
No.
They were the fresh jalapenos, which I appreciated after the initial shock.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, had they been thrown on the grill?
They were just like fresh, kind of almost like you do like lettuce, but it was kind of mixed in there, and it was again, it was a welcome surprise after the initial just punch in the face.
That's fair. I'll give you that one.
I can handle spicy stuff when I know it's coming. Okay, I promise.
I gotta get my mind right.
Exactly right. Anyway, hit the theme next. Pickle. Hit the arrow sign. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a program on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or you'll listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. The Dutch to the Dorks, Miss 305, and a woman whose hair I complimented on the way in today.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Thank you.
She's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends.
I did. I was like, your hair looks nice.
It's curly.
Today is Monday, October 9th, 2023. We're closing in, folks. We are 45 days.
Let's go.
From Thanksgiving. 45 days from
Full
Thanksgiving.
menu has been sent out.
I'm proud of you. I really am. Happy birthday to...
No. TikTok stars?
No, just a lot of,
YouTube.
Or dead people.
YouTubers.
George Kittle.
Oh.
Happy 30th birthday to George Kittle, who personally victimized the Dallas Cowboys last night. It's also Steve Burns' 50th birthday. You know who Steve Burns is?
I don't think so.
Steve from Blue's Clues.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Steve. It's
Happy
episode
birthday,
1667. On today's show, folks, we got Monday Morning Fallout, overreacting to the football weekend across the state of Texas. Kind of a college and pro stinky, but high school.
Stinky. Not stinky.
We'll talk about that. Then we're going to be joined by the head coach of the undefeated Needville Blue Jays. Coach Mike Giles will join us to talk a little Blue Jays football. We'll talk with Coach Giles coming up here in a moment. And then back half of the show, we're going to unveil the Week 8 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas High School Football Rankings if you stick around with us. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Ed McElroy, Big Jiggly Water Balloons, Just Chad, and Nick Morton. Welcome in, fellas.
Acknowledge me. Well done, BJWB. BJWB.
He's
I
back.
see you. Pickle! Hit the air raid sign. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout. When we overreact to the football weekend, good, we're going to run the intro again.
We just like the siren. I personally like the siren.
You just need a drop.
Yep.
A lot to get to from this weekend. Let's start with my opening thought. It feels different now.
All right.
Part of it is certainly the weather, right?
Yeah.
It's not a bajillion degrees outside.
Which rules?
Which is great. I think everybody agrees. Very good development here. But over the course of the evening on Friday night especially, I think in the games that we were paying the most attention to, you could tell that there were higher stakes.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a palpable sense of intensity that we haven't necessarily seen so far this year in a number of games. I thought Longview and Forney, which ended up being just a knockdown, drag-out, Singapore cane street fight.
With a mechanical bull.
Felt intense. I thought Klein Collins and Tomball Memorial felt very intense.
It did.
Over the course of the evening. There were a number of those games that you could feel the weight of those games. Right? I think that if you go out to, I thought that on Thursday night, Summer Creek and North Shore.
There was definitely,
that was a playoff atmosphere.
Yes.
That was a playoff atmosphere that very clearly meant a lot to those teams. Same thing on Thursday night. I thought Graham and Wichita Falls Hershey pulls off the upset. I thought there was that playoff intensity there. You had those games across the state that I think really drove home that it's go time now.
Bridgeland and Cy Falls was another one on Thursday night.
Bridgeland and Cy Falls felt different. Cherokee and Richland Springs felt different. Now we're getting into the meat of it. There's basically no more district games. There's some like weird one-off district game, like non-district games in six-man football this week. I was looking this up. And then like the private school ranks has some non-district games. Other than that, every game from here on out matters and really means something. And I think you could feel that on Friday night and on Thursday night and on Saturday. That's my opening thought. Game of the week. Avert your eyes, Longhorns fans, but it was Oklahoma 34, Texas 30.
Man.
As a neutral, right? As somebody who just covers the team.
That game rolled.
That game was awesome.
Like, the first 10 minutes were so exhilarating. It was a blast.
That was a wild ride.
Like, that's what you want from...
Absolutely.
Texas fans loved the 49-0 last year. Do not get me wrong. It was fun to watch a team be that dominant. But fumbles in the end zone, kickoff return, like all of that in the first 10 minutes, that's
big
what
plays,
the Red River rivalry should be.
Haymakers, and everyone pulling out all the stops.
Yep.
It's funny because I think the numbers are going to show that Texas was probably the better overall team on Saturday. But I also, because I think the numbers are going to show that, but over the course of the game, I thought that Oklahoma demonstrated more game control than Texas did.
Their defense. It was just coaching. I really think it was coaching at the end of the stretch.
Their defense, I think, really was impressive. I thought Dylan Gabriel played the game of his life, and they came up with the big plays when it mattered. I thought Texas got exposed in a couple of big weaknesses. Specifically, I think that their secondary was not as good as it should have been. And I think I think Oklahoma had a great game plan in that game. Now, I think if you're a Texas fan, it's all still in front of you. Win out. If they win out, right, they'll probably get another shot at Oklahoma at AT&T Stadium. And if they win that game, they're probably in the playoff. Nothing's lost here. The only thing that was lost is your margin for error. But arguably, if they were going to drop a game to somebody else...
you might as well make it Oklahoma in a nation, like, recognized rivalry game than to drop a Kansas State game, you know?
Exactly. It was a spectacular game. And
it was fun
I know Longhorns fans are smarting from it, but if you're a college football fan, it's undeniably the game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Am I overreacting? Is Houston deeper than DFW this year?
Oh, I think easily.
When I take a look over just writ large about these particular teams or in these particular regions, because I think that's ultimately what it always boils down to, right? Is like, there's always the DFW versus Houston. DFW won, of course, the 3 state championships last year in 6, all 4 state championships, I should say, in 6A and 5A, right? And then, so DFW's kind of had the crown. And admittedly, Duncanville, Aledo, Melissa, DeSoto, South Lake Carroll, South Cliff, Toller, put Toller in that mix, right? North Crowley. There's good teams. I think the depth belongs to Houston, though.
Yeah.
Okay? 21-6A alone. North Shore, Atascocita, Summer Creek, who really showed out, and C.E. King. Houston Lamar, Klein Collins, Dickinson, Fulshear, Montgomery Lake Creek, Katy, Willis, Fort Bend Hightower, Katy Jordan, Magnolia, Fort Bend Ridgepoint, Iowa Colony. I think that Houston is where, I'm not here to tell you that Houston's going to win all the state championships. What I'm here to tell you is that there's better depth in Houston than in DFW this year.
I think it's very fair to say that DFW has the 1s and possibly the 2s, but Houston's 3 through 4, 5s it's
absolutely
insane.
The depth in Houston is remarkable. DFW probably has the most number of elites.
Yes.
Right?
1v1.
Yeah.
DFW probably still is winning that fight. But
Duncanville versus North Shore right now, I'd probably take Duncanville.
Yeah, but 3 through 4.
But the depth, the more you dive deep, Houston's got the edge there. It's time for the Dudes Rock Dude of the Week, where we celebrate a dude who rocked over the course of the weekend in the Dudes Rock Dude of the Week. Get your dudes in at #DudesRock. Our Dudes Rock Dude of the Week is a dude who rocked
record
in the way that only dudes can. It's Clyde quarterback Blake Carr. We might just need to rename this segment to Large Bills Only because Blake Carr, in their matchup with previously unbeaten Vernon, goes 8 of 15 for 186 yards and 4 touchdowns passing. So half of his completions went for touchdowns. And then he also carried the ball 22 times for 363 yards and 5 touchdowns.
I started trying to put his stat line in the lower third, and then I quickly realized it was not going to fit.
9 total touchdowns, more than 500 yards of total offense. Blake Carr, Clyde quarterback, the Dudes Rock Dude of the Week. Now it's time for Tepper's Play of the Week. I appreciate you sending in your plays at Tepper on Twitter. And we got a good one here. So Pearsall was in an absolute dogfight with Carrizo Springs in a district game. I want to say it was their district opener. Pearsall's been off to a really good start. A team that kind of came out of nowhere. We were really impressed with. They were pretty sizable favorites over Carrizo Springs, but give Carrizo Springs a ton of credit. They hung in. The Wildcats were right into it, and they were lining up. The game tied on the final snap of the game, on the final snap of regulation, to win the ball game with a field goal until Pearsall pulled out a little bit of magic. Ultra-rare blocked field goal return for a game-winning touchdown from Pearsall. The Mavericks get a critical District 14 for a Division II win. And,
My favorite
Heart-stopping.
My favorite part of that video was when the camera person panned to the right, and there was the one guy with the Pearsall flag just taken off out of the back of the end zone.
Incredible stuff. My play of the week.
So good.
Quick break for a hot take.
Spicy.
Jimbo Fisher coaches kind of scared.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he coached scared in A&M's loss to Alabama. There were a number of times in which I think he had an opportunity to really put the hammer down and to really say, all right, we're going to take command of this game. Specifically, I mean, he went for it a couple times on fourth down, but there was a time specifically into the fourth quarter where Alabama, is that right? Yeah. It was into the fourth quarter, and he ends up punting on 4th and 1. 4th and 1 from the Alabama 45. It's tied at 17 at this point. Alabama's come back to take the lead. Alabama 45, it's 4th and 1. They had 3rd and 2. Le'Veon Moss gets a yard. It's 4th and 1 at the Alabama 45. And Jimbo Fisher punts. In the postgame, he was asked about this. And the quote was, I want to make sure we get this. TexAgs had the quote, and I want to make sure I credit them. His quote was, where did I go? I put it in the Slack. Can't find it. Okay. Jimbo Fisher on punting on 4th and 1 at the 45. The score was 17-17. We had it 3rd and 2, but then it was 4th and 1. Fisher said if A&M had 4th and less than a yard, he probably would have gone for it. So you trust your team to get 15 inches, but you don't trust your team, or 18 inches, but you don't trust your team to get 36. Here's what I'm hearing from Jimbo Fisher when he says that. You guys had an opportunity to get 2 yards on 3rd down.
Mm-hmm.
You're lucky I didn't punt on 3rd down. I know you can't get this yard. That is, in my opinion, coaching scared. You're playing Alabama at home. And by the way, the tide, so to speak, has swung now into Alabama's favor. They are on the good foot. I thought Jimbo Fisher, his conservative play calling and he's not calling plays, right? But I thought that his conservative attitude in that game cost him an opportunity to take command of an SEC West that may never, the division's going away now. It was never that winnable as it was this year. I think that falls on the head coach, quite frankly. Time for my of the week. Odessa 49, Odessa Permian 42 in overtime.
Yeah.
Permian had won 9 straight over the Broncos. Permian had won 9 straight, but Odessa, in their little Southwest Conference opener, throws a haymaker and suddenly throws everything into a little bit of chaos there in District 2-6A. I mean, they announced their arrival, right? Midland, Legacy, and Odessa are now undefeated in district.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Permian's got Legacy this week.
Not a cakewalk.
And they still got to play Friendship. It's pretty good. Still got to play Midland. Odessa really took it to them, and I was very impressed with them. The computer had Permian by 19.
Yeah, it was not supposed to be close.
But Odessa, the Broncos, Coach Dusty Ortiz, signature win for them. Nice little win for Odessa, and certainly my of the week. Now it's time for my wild stat of the week. Coach Jake Fizzell at Gunner. I don't know if you saw what they did.
Certified good coach.
I don't know if you saw what they did.
Yeah, I think I missed this one.
Gunner beat Bells 64-6.
Holy cow.
State-ranked Bells. The win was the 200th win for Coach Jake Fizzell. Congratulations to Coach Jake Fizzell. He joins the 200-win club. He is now tied for the 3rd fastest coach to get to 200 wins. He's 229. The only 2 people who got to 200 wins faster than him were Gary Joseph at Katy. Mm-hmm. Bless you.
Thank you.
And Jerry Burkhart at Richland Springs. The only 2 people to get to 200 wins quicker in fewer than 229 games. Here's my wild stat of the week. Jake Fizzell reached 200 wins in 229 games. The same number of games that it took Scott Surratt to reach 200 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So,
time to start having a conversation.
update. I know he doesn't have the rings, but he's got the dubs.
Yep.
Keep an eye on that. Congratulations to Jake Fizzell on win number 200. Now it's time for the Matt Step. He got that dog in him. Player of the week.
And now, the Matt Step. He got that dog in him. Player of the week.
Hey y'all, it's Matt Step and Dave Campbell's Texas Football here at DFW Airport. I'm headed to Canada for Thanksgiving, but I can't leave without announcing the Week 7 Matt Step He Got That Dog in Him award winner. And the winner of this week's Matt Step He Got That Dog in Him award is none other than Everman running back Caden Brooks. Caden had 207 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns in Everman's big 35-19 win on Thursday night over Arlington Seguin. Congrats, Caden. You, sir, have got that dog in you.
Congratulations to Caden Brooks of Everman, this week's winner of the Matt Step. He got that dog in him Player of the Week.
You might say he's got that bulldog in him.
You have my attention, Richland Springs. Remember them? Remember when Richland Springs was like the dominant force in six-man football?
You heard of this, Kev?
Well, they're back. Knocked off Cherokee, state-ranked unbeaten rival Cherokee, 40-32 on Friday night, to vault back into that statewide conversation. They're on a new coach. Sean Rogers is the head coach because Jerry Burkhart's suspended. But they're rolling right now. They're undefeated. Another big game this week against unbeaten Rochelle, but they're going to be favored in that one. It's time to pay attention to Richland Springs again. They are back. Get excited for Columbus at Hitchcock.
This rules.
We'll get to the rankings here in a moment. I will tell you this is a state-ranked matchup of unbeatens and a really intriguing matchup of playmakers at the 3A level. This game is popcorn-worthy. Get your popcorn ready for Columbus and Hitchcock.
I think I might have a stomach ache on Friday and have to stay home so I can make my way down to Hitchcock.
Yeah, you might have to. Keep an eye on that one, Columbus and Hitchcock. Final thought. A spectacular week in San Antonio ahead.
Let's go.
I was getting ready for the week and just starting my game prep for week 8. And one thing that I suddenly started noticing is, boy, it's kind of a kick-ass week in San Antonio this week. It is. There are a lot of really, really good games down there in the Alamo City. Most notably, San Antonio Reagan and San Antonio Johnson, matchup of unbeatens. San Antonio Harlandale and San Antonio Alamo Heights, matchup of unbeatens. I'm really intrigued by Bernie Champion and San Antonio Wagner. If you include Gonzalez into San Antonio, which your mileage may vary, but Cuero and Gonzalez is a lot of fun. Schertz Clemens and Converse Judson, I know that those are not too, the records aren't great, but there's a lot on the line there. It's big bragging rights to go on there. Sotomayor and Taft is a critical district matchup. Burbank and Jefferson's a critical district matchup. This is a nice little spicy week in San Antonio. So if you're in the Alamo City, there's no excuse to stay home. It's a big week in San Antonio. That's my final thought, and that is Monday Morning Fallout. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Coming up here in just a moment, we'll talk to the head coach of the unbeaten Needville Blue Jays, Coach Mike Giles. But first, a word from these goods and services.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texans love doing business with fellow Texans. VCR now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
I feel like bustin' loose, bustin' loose. Come on, get on up. Oh yeah, get on up. Bustin' loose when you wanna sing. Bustin' loose, baby, do your thing. Talking about bustin' loose, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Pickle, let's go to the hotline. There's a scant few number of UIL teams that are 7-0 right now. In fact, there's only 31 of them across the state of Texas, but one of them resides down there in Fort Bend County. Let's go to the hotline and talk to the head coach of the 7-0 Needville Blue Jays. We're joined by Coach Mike Giles. Coach, how are you?
Doing well. Doing really well, actually, today. Beautiful day. It's 82 degrees in Needville, so we've all got our parkas out getting ready to go to practice.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have to bundle up down there at 82. You guys moved to 7-0 and, more importantly, 3-0 in district play with this last week's win over Navasota, 56-42. That matches, at 7-0, that matches the combined win total of the last two seasons down there in Needville. What has been the biggest difference for you guys this year as opposed to the past couple of years?
I think, the last couple of years because we were very, very young last year, very small senior class. That combined with, we just weren't as talented. Of course, a few years prior to that, we had some pretty talented teams. We just had a drop. Our numbers were down a little bit. Senior class, like I said, was small. Played a ton of young kids, and it hurt us obviously during that time. But with the experience that those guys have gained and the great off season that they've had and the buy-in, starting to pay dividends this year. So.
One of the biggest things that has been the source of the turnaround has been on the offensive side. Last year you guys averaged about 21 points a game. You guys have exploded for 46 points a game, including last week's 56-point outburst. I want to talk about some of the individual guys in a moment, but kind of holistically, coming into the season, did you have a feeling that this could be a big year for your offense?
Well, I told our kids in the offseason that's the worst offense that we've had as far as point production, and I wasn't interested in us repeating that. And I know we had some talented kids. Our offensive line is greatly improved from last year, and obviously, with some of our skill guys and the talent that they have, really makes a difference. But I'll tell you, the biggest difference for us has been up front. Our offensive line has really improved, and that's been a big difference maker.
We're talking with Mike Giles, the head coach of the Needville Blue Jays here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Coach, it's hard not to notice your running back, your junior running back, Deshaun Burton, who is already over 1,400 yards in the year, 22 touchdowns, averaging nearly 7.5 yards a carry. What is it about this young man that really has him rolling right now? Because he's a lot of fun to watch.
He really is. I tell you, he's really grown up a lot over the last 2 years. He started for us as a freshman. Last year as a sophomore, kind of was a little bit down. He didn't have a great spring. Had an injury. Summer wasn't great. But I tell you, he had a great offseason, had a great summer. He's come into the season much stronger and faster, than he has been in the past. And just his overall approach, his mental capacity to just, is humble and just working hard. And he's complimented with a quarterback that helps him out there as well. And again, I'm gonna go back to the offensive line, because those guys, I can't say enough about those guys and the improvements that they've made. But Deshaun is a special kid. He's different from a few years ago when we had Ashton. He's a different type of runner. Got great vision, got great patience for finding holes and then being able to hit the hole and stay vertical. And I don't know many times that he's been tackled where he's fallen backwards.
The quarterback you mentioned is Keelan Sweeney, a guy who is dual threat guy. He's got 11 rushing touchdowns, nearly 1,000 yards himself on the ground, but also a guy who you guys are not asking him to throw a ton, but it seems like he's really effective when you do ask him to throw. This is a guy who's obviously in command of this offense and looking good. As the guy who gets to see him in practice and in the locker room, what is it about your quarterback that sets him apart?
He's a very mature, composed, competitive kid. Saw that when he was young, just watching him compete in basketball, to be honest with you, just how he handled himself. He doesn't get rattled. He's a smart kid. He's a competitive kid. He's a selfless kid, gives the credit to others. And I'll be honest with you, he can throw the football, and you're right. We haven't thrown it as much as maybe we have in the past. We can if we need to. And really, if you look at his completions, I think he, for every fourth completion is a touchdown. So we have to. He's doing a really, really nice job of running our offense and dispersing the ball to the guys that he needs to get it to, for sure.
Mike Giles and Needville, our guest here on Texas Football Today. The other side of the ball, Coach, on the defensive side, you guys have made some nice strides as well. Got into a bit of a firefight with Navasota this past week, but the defense overall has taken a nice step forward. What on the defensive side has you most excited?
Just our physicality. We've got guys flying around. We've probably got more depth at the linebacker, outside linebacker, secondary positions than we've had since I've been here. We're not as big up front at the defensive line position as we've been in the past, but we have guys that just play with fanatical effort and are extremely physical. I mean, we got some guys that, I had to send off 3 helmets last week to get fixed from Rydell. Our middle linebacker shattered, and I'm talking about the brand new Axiom. He shattered it, broke it in half. So we got some guys that are physical, and they take pride in being better defensively. And we did get into a kind of a score match last week against Navasota, but I'm gonna tell you, that's an extremely talented football team at quarterback, and can run and throw and makes things really, really difficult on you defensively. But overall, our just great effort, and you can't coach that. We've got tough kids, and they're gonna give us everything they've got. They're coachable, and they're gonna fly around.
Well, the good news is, Coach, it's not like things get any tougher. You guys are this week on the road at El Campo, and then you get Bay City before you close things out with Iowa Colony. So UIL did you a real favor here with this district. I want to focus on this week against El Campo. You guys are going to Riceburg Stadium.
It's
take them on.
Probably I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you're taking on El Campo this week, going to Riceburg Stadium. I know you've already worked hard on figuring out a game plan. What's going to need to happen for you guys on Friday night to come away with what would be another really big win?
I think that we've got to be able to control the line of scrimmage like we've been able to do in our games, since we've started district, and that's going to be tough. El Campo is an extremely talented football team, obviously, with Oliver Miles and the guys they've got over there. Defensively, their defensive front is good and physical. And with Coach Reeves there, they're very well coached. They're disciplined. You're not going to trick them. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to physically get after them and know that you're in for a 4-quarter game. Hopefully we can stay in it for 4 quarters.
I think you guys got a good shot. I'll say that. He's Mike Giles. He's the head coach of the unbeaten Needville Blue Jays. Coach, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the great start, and best of luck Friday night in El Campo.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me, and appreciate everything you guys are doing for high school football in Texas.
Absolutely. There he goes, Mike Giles, head coach, Needville Blue Jays. Again, a bit of surprise. Remember, they were 4-6 last year, 3-7 the year before. Kind of bobbing along, but they have caught lightning in a bottle, and that duo of Keelan, I just had his name, Keelan Sweeney, and then that running back, Deshaun Burton. Those two together combined, just those two guys, are averaging 332 yards a game on the ground.
My goodness.
332 yards a game. They got a combined 33 touchdowns on the ground. And by the way, Sweeney's thrown for 9 touchdowns.
I was going to say, that combined with a defense that's knocking skulls is it's dangerous.
This is a really interesting ball club. And now, Coach is kind of joking about it. It's backloaded. El Campo, Bay City, Iowa Colony. Okay?
That's what's funny, too, is there's 2 surprise teams in that district.
Absolutely.
Iowa Colony was not supposed to do this either in their third year.
I think you're right. But I think Needville has firmly inserted themselves into the conversation there at in that district. And I'm really intrigued by this week's game at El Campo. I think they got a really great shot. So I think it's a lot of fun. Fun times down there in Blue Jay country. We appreciate Mike Giles hopping on with us. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Coming up here momentarily, we will unveil the Week 8 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas High School Football State Rankings. But first, let's find out who's up for the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week Award.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football, in conjunction with the TaxAct Texas Bowl, is proud to give the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week Award, presented by Kroger, to the most deserving high schooler in the state of Texas. Each week, TexasFootball.com announces 10 candidates for that week's award based on the previous week's on-field performance. Congratulations to this week's 10 nominees. Fans, be sure to vote for the player you believe should be the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week at TexasFootball.com. Voting closes Friday at noon, with the winner announced shortly after on TexasFootball.com. Thanks to Kroger and the TaxAct Texas Bowl for their continued support of Texas high school football and the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week Award.
All right, Pickle, one last thing to do today, and that is to unveil the Week 8 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas High School Football statewide rankings. These are the official rankings of record in Texas high school football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football has been the official rankings provider of the Associated Press since 2019. We've put out the state's most respected Texas high school football rankings for decades. We're very excited about our partnership with the Associated Press for the past 5 years or so. Really excited about that. You can find all the rankings at texasfootball.com/rankings. Let's start with the largest classification, Pickle, where a few changes, mostly at the bottom. In fact, the top 18 all are unchanged. Number 19, Tomball Memorial crashes out with their loss to Klein Collins. We'll get to them in a moment. And as a result, a lot of teams nudge up a spot. San Antonio Reagan up a spot to number 19. Rockwall up a spot to number 20. Prosper up a spot to number 21. Dripping Springs, big game this week against Westlake. They're up to number 22. Coppell nudges up a spot with a win over Flower Mound Marcus to number 23. Katy Jordan up to number 24. And newly ranked, the Klein Collins Tigers, who took down Tomball Memorial. That earns them the number 25 spot in the rankings. Top 5 entirely unchanged. Top 10 unchanged, actually. Duncanville, Galena Park North Shore, DeSoto, Austin Westlake, Austin Vandergrift, South Lake Carroll, Humble Atascocita, Katy, North Crowley, and Humble Summer Creek at number 10. Summer Creek did lose to Galena Park North Shore, but it was such a...
They gave them a fight.
We talked internally about this, and we decided to keep them at number 10. We thought that the teams behind them, Lake Travis, Cibolo Steele, McKinney, specifically, we think that Summer Creek has the better resume and is the better team right now. Now, certainly things can change. In fact, McKinney's got a big game with Allen this week. If they win that game, let's talk. But for now, we keep Humble Summer Creek number 10 despite the loss. To 5A we go. 5A Division 1, chalk. Entirely unchanged. Nothing to see here. Top 5 remains unchanged. Aledo, Longview, Mansfield, Timberview, Porth Memorial, and Fulshear all unbeaten with the exception of Longview. Lost that season opener to McKinney. Frisco Lone Star did get a scare, need overtime to beat Frisco Centennial.
What's new?
Keep an eye on that. Watch this space. They're still here, still ranked. Kept them at number 9, but just watch the space. Forney, despite the loss to Longview, we keep them in the rankings as well. We thought that they gave the number 2 team in the state all they wanted, and that is good enough to stay at the number 10 spot. 5A Division 2 now. Couple of changes at the bottom. Fort Bend Marshall, a bit of a head-scratching loss to Texas City. They crash out of the rankings, as does number 10 Belton, who lost to Leander Rouse. As a result, Lovejoy nudges up a spot to number 8. New to the rankings, the 6-0 Alamo Heights Mules, number 9 in the state, with a 50-0 drubbing of San Antonio Jefferson, now 6-0. And back into the rankings, the Argyle Eagles, the number 10 team in the state, after their win over previously unbeaten Lake Dallas. They get another unbeaten team as they take on Frisco Emerson, number 2 this week. Tasty, tasty, tasty stuff. 4A we go. Number 9 El Campo crashes out with their loss to Bay City. They got a big test this week against aforementioned Needville. Give them a moment. Number 9 Brownwood is up a spot after their win over Big Spring. And new to the rankings, the top 10 Needville Blue Jays, 7-0, big winners over Navasota, ahead of their big game this week against El Campo. Watch this space. El Campo and Needville going at this week. Top 5 remains unchanged in 4A Division 1. Tyler, Chapel Hill, Bernie, Salina, Anna, and China Spring. China Spring got in a weird game. They were down like 14-0 to Alvarado and then like rang off 64 straight.
As one does.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, 4A Division 2 now. Couple of changes here. Pleasant Grove, a drubbing of Gilmer. That crashed the number 9 Buckeyes out. Number 8 Graham loses to Wichita Falls Hershey. They crash out of the rankings. Monahans moves up 2 spots to number 8. Into the rankings, the Canyon West Plains Wolves at number 9. Big winners over Seminole, previously unbeaten Seminole. And into the rankings, the Center Rough Riders, 5-1 on the year. They were idle, but a spot opened up, and they were next on deck. They are back into the rankings. Top 5 remains unchanged, though. Carthage, Silsbee, Pleasant Grove, Cuero, and Wimberley. To 3A we go. Nothing really to say in 3A Division 1 except at the very bottom. Number 10 Muleshoe loses to Bushland. As a result, Muleshoe is out. Bushland in! Number 10 team in the state, the Bushland Falcons, with a big win over Muleshoe. The top 5 teams remain unchanged. Franklin, Columbus, Malakoff, Hitchcock, and Winsboro. We've got 2 top 10 matchups here. Columbus at Hitchcock and Winsboro at Pottsboro. Yeah, Winsboro at Pottsboro. So, 2 big games in 3A Division 1. We will do a lot of sorting this week. 3A Division 2, Gunner drops a hammer on Bells, just launches them into the sun. As a result, Bells drops out of the rankings at number 8. Holiday nudges up a spot to number 8. Littlefield up a spot to number 9. And back into the rankings, the number 10 Dangerfield Tigers, winners over New Diana. That gets them back into the rankings. Top 5 unchanged. Gunner, Canadian, Tidehaven, Hooks, and Newton. To 2A we go. 2A Division 1, chalk. Everyone won with the exception of Timpson and Beckville, who took the week off. Top 10 unchanged, including the top 5, Timpson, Refugio, Toller, Cooper, and Stratford. Then, 2A Division 2, chalk. Everyone was a winner with the exception of Seymour, who was idle at number 10. Top 5 remains unchanged. Albany, Martin, New Home, Chilton, and Collinsville, your top 5. By the way, Sunray put it on Lubbock Christian, and that was impressive. That was a state-ranked Lubbock Christian squad. Very impressive win there. Watch this space. To the 6-man ranks we go. 1A Division 1. Abbott beats Aquila 52-6 in resounding fashion. Really impressive from Abbott. They hold on to their number 3 spot. That drops Aquila out of the rankings. I believe that nudges up a spot for Miami and for Rankin up number 8 and number 9 respectively. And back into the rankings, the number 10 Borden County Coyotes at 5-1. They were idle, but they were next on deck, and the spot opened up. Top 5 remains unchanged. Gordon, Knox City, Abbott, Westbrook, and Jonesboro. And in 1A Division 2, this actually is a lot simpler than it looks. Nope, go back. This is actually a lot simpler. Whoa, hello.
Hello. There we go.
A lot simpler than it looks. Oh, I got to fix that. Richland Springs should be number 4. Their logo's right, but the name is wrong. Richland Springs is number 4, and Cherokee is number 6. I got to fix that on the graphic.
Off.
Yes, our pets' heads are falling off. Richland Springs is the number 4 team. They swap places with Cherokee, who they beat. They're 40-32. That is the only change in the rankings. So your new top 5 is Benjamin, Oglesby, Jayton, Richland Springs, and Klondike. I need to fix that graphic before we post it on social media. So Richland Springs is the number 4 team in the state. Graphic is right. Wording is wrong. and the private school ranks. The private school 11-man rankings got a total makeover this week. Bel Air Episcopal loses to Houston St. John's. That drops them out of the rankings. Lubbock Christian gets drilled by Sunray. They drop out of the rankings. As a result, did a little bit of fine-tuning. Dallas Christian bounces back up to number 2. New to the rankings, the number 3 Houston St. John's Mavericks, who get a big win over Bel Air Episcopal. Austin Regents up a spot to number 4. And new to the rankings, Argyle Liberty Christian, coached by one Jason Witten. 6-0 on the year, unbeaten, and now state-ranked. Big win over Fort Worth Christian, 78-13. Private school 6-man ranks, much less exciting. Everyone was a winner with the exception of Pasadena First Baptist and East Texas Homeschool, who were idle. But your top 5, Pasadena First Baptist, Fort Worth Covenant Classical, Conroe Covenant, Bastard Tribe Consolidated, and East Texas Homeschool. There they are, your Week 8 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas High School Football State Rankings. You can find all the rankings at texasfootball.com/rankings. Now, let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
In case you missed it, they did do if you're ready to mourn your loss, or if you didn't have like a time to get over it this weekend, ROF did do a recap episode yesterday. So go check that out. There's some good perspective from a rough weekend, but it's there.
Yes, go check it out. ROF's got a lot of good content in the Republican Football podcast feed. Go check that out. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Needville head coach Mike Giles for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.